Hello, my stamping friends. My name is Holly Peterson, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator located in Cheyenne, Wyoming. Today we're going to make this cute little happy birthday card using the Lovely Arrangements bundle. Might be too close here. So this bundle, both the stamp set and the dies. We're also using Fluid 100 watercolor paper. We'll set this aside here. Our supplies for this card are Misty Moonlight, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. A piece of Misty Moonlight cut with the die that comes in the bundle, this die here, and you'll need a piece 2 1/4 by 3 3/4. We'll need 2 pieces of petal pink that measure 4 by 5 1/4. Basic white, 3.5 by 4 3/4. A piece of Kintsugi designer paper, 4 by 2. A different pattern of the Kintsugi DSP, 3 3/4 by 5. Watercolor paper, 2 by 4. And then 1 3/4 by 1 3/4 to cut out these little leaves. And that's in soft seafoam. Okay. We will start with our watercolor paper. And we're going to emboss that with white embossing powder. I'm going to use my embossing buddy. And then we're going to use both of the flower images. We're going to stamp them in Versamark onto the watercolor paper. No, you won't see anything on there. The Versamark is a sticky ink, so it will allow us to pour on some embossing powder. I'm not sure that you can see that on the camera, but I can see where those flowers are. We'll set this aside. I'm just going to heat emboss this, heat set it. Okay. Then you can either use the water pen to wet your stamped images, or I'm just going to spray it with some water. we're going to use Misty Moonlight ink, and you can squeeze the ink and get it in your lid here, squeeze the ink pad. I don't like to do that, so I always use a block and pick up some ink. I'm gonna close this. And then I'm just going to spray with water. And because this is watercolor paper, it can withhold quite a bit of water. I'm gonna squeeze my painter and then pick up some ink. And then we're gonna just touch the paper. And since I already have water on there, it's gonna go ahead and bleed. You can help it along. I'm by no means an expert at watercolor. I like to just do what I think looks okay. And then if you find you have too much ink, or I mean too much water, you can pick some of that up with a paper towel. It'll also pick up some of the ink color as well. And then if you wanted to add a little more, we can add more. And since we have water on here, it does bleed with the water. And then you could heat set this, dry it with your heat tool. I like to just let it dry naturally. And then to clean your water pen, you're gonna just squeeze the water out and wipe it off until it comes clear. So you can see my brush is stained, but the water is coming out clear. So that's all clean and ready for the next use. Now today, I went ahead and did this in advance. So I'm just gonna set these ones aside. Make sure I don't have any water here. Whoops. My rag was dirty. Okay, and then you can just wipe your block off and it's ready to go. Let me just make sure that I have this nice and dry here. Okay. So I've already stamped our greeting. All of the stamps from this come from the Lovely Arrangements. So I stamped the happy birthday, and inside we'll do sending smiles. Let's go ahead and fold our card base in half. Reinforce with our bone folder. So the first layer we're going to just put onto our card base. And then our designer paper, the larger piece, will go on top of that. Then the other piece of designer paper, we're just going to make the left and right side and the bottom about the same margins. Oops. And then this little piece, we're going to just adhere to the top of that. I'm going to use a little bit of liquid glue on this one. And then here's the flowers that I did in advance. And our leaves. So this flower, we're going to just adhere flat. We're going to stick the little single leaf underneath there. Now the larger flower, just kind of make it curl a little bit. We're going to add with dimensionals. And I'm just going to put 2 right here in the middle. Then these leaves will tuck in underneath the big flower. By putting the dimensionals only in the middle allows you to tuck those in. And then the happy birthday, I'm just going to put liquid glue on the left end. And I think that this was cut with the die that comes in this bundle. There's this little rectangular die, and it cuts that out perfect. So let's see. Oh yeah, those are just perfect for the small dimensionals. I like to do the flat edge against the straight edge. I think it makes it fit better. And then just a little bit of liquid glue on that end. And that's because this flower is already popped up. I'm going to hold that down there with that flower. On the inside layer, I don't remember if I use the big flower or the little flower. We're going to go ahead and use the little flower. And Versamark is a tone-on-tone ink as well. So it kind of just gives your paper a little bit of a watermark. Let me grab a scratch paper here. I don't want Versamark on my desk. Okay. So then I'm just going to stamp the edges. And it's okay if you overlap a little bit. If you do the full flower, a lot of this is going to be covered. Okay. I probably should have done that at the beginning so that it could dry. Like I said, it's a sticky ink. It does stay wet a little bit longer. Let's see if I can adhere this. Okay, and then for our basic white layer, I'm going to clean the Versamark off of my stand. And I'm just wiping it on my chamois that came with the glass mat. We're going to take the Misty Moonlight stamp that in the corner, and then we'll take our Sending Smiles. Stamp that in the middle. And this is ready to go on the inside. Can you see the flowers along the edge here? Just makes it a little bit darker. And there we have a simple birthday card using a little bit of watercoloring. Thanks for stopping by and watching my video today. If you've liked my video, please give me a thumbs up and like my video and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for stopping by.